Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read at 6:62 Holiday Relay, Chapter 3. Everyone raced to the magic school bus. This way, Red Team, I called, letting DA and Arnold to the back of the bus. No one would bother us there. We could discuss our strategy to win. The blue team sat together in the front. Green was in the middle. Miss Frizzle took a place behind the wheel. Dr. Bibb sat right behind the freeze. He bent his head, polishing his already shiny whistle. Get ready for blast off, Miss Frizzle cried happily. She set a dial on the dashboard. The magic school bus reared up on its back wheels. It pointed straight to the sky like a rocket ship. The freeze snapped the fingers, and suddenly we were all wearing spacesuits in our team colors. Liz had a green mini-suit, and even the freeze and Dr. Bibb wore rainbow-colored ones. Miss Frizzle turned the ignition key. A fire ignited under the bus. Ready for lunch? Miss Frizzle yelled. Red team ready, I shouted over the roar of the magic school rocket. Speak for yourself, Arnold said under his breath. Green ready? Tim called out. Blue too. Magic school rocket rumbled and shook liftoff. We rose from the ground, farther and farther from the school, up through clouds and sky. Oh, Miss Frizzle, how far away is the sun? Arnold asked. Quite away, Miss Frizzle answered. About 93 million miles. I whistled. Well, if we want to get back to school for lunch, we'll have to move pretty quickly. Faster than the speed of light, Carlos said with a wink. What's the idea? Miss Frizzle shook her head. Remember, nothing moves faster than the speed of light, class, but if we were able to travel at light speed, it would take only 8 minutes to reach the sun. 8 minutes to get to the sun? Why? Couldn't I move like that? Then I would never be late again. Even though we weren't going that fast now, we still zipped along. We shot past the moon. It's so bright, said Phoebe. Is the moon a source of natural light too? The moon doesn't have its own light, Dr. Bibb said, turning around to speak. It only reflects the light of the sun. White light. And it seems so bright because space is black. Mercury up ahead, the freeze announced, the closest planet to the sun. By the time I checked out the view, we had left Mercury behind. The freeze pulled the lever by the steering wheel. Sun shield on, she announced. Super goggles on. These will protect your eyes from the brightness and allow you to see each ray of light coming from the sun. I peered through the sunglasses that somehow wound up on my nose. The sun was bright, white, and growing larger by the second. I couldn't even see the whole thing. We were getting so close, and it looked so different from the way it does on Earth. It looked like a giant ball of fire. How come the sun looks white? Wanda asked. It always seemed yellow when I looked at it before. That's because you were seeing it through Earth's atmosphere, which affects the color, the freeze explained. Here in space, you can see that the sun shines a pure white light. While the teams wooed and awed at the sun, I geared up for the next challenge. The red team hadn't won anything yet. I had to make sure we'd win this one. Think, Ralphie, I told myself. I glanced at Dr. Bibb. He was sitting back in his seat, relaxing. He pulled out a smooth, round object from his pocket and began to polish it. Well, maybe the next contest won't happen for a while, I decided, but I wanted to be ready. I wanted to win. Attention, please. We are now entering the sun's atmosphere, also known as the corona. The freeze announced. Out the window, things were changing. First, we passed through these silvery streamers that looked kind of gauzy, strange. Next, we passed through gases that had a reddish color. This is the chromosphere, the freeze told us. Even the color red wasn't enough to get my total attention. Not when I had a race to win. Magic School rocket kept moving, now all around us. Gases bubbled and churned. It reminded me of a pot of boiling water on the stove just before I helped my dad put in the spaghetti to cook. We are in the photosphere, the freeze explained. This is what we see from Earth. The photosphere is what we would call the surface if the sun was solid. I glanced at my team. DA flipped to pages of book. Arnold fanned himself as if he could really feel the heat from the sun. Get your head out of those books. I hissed to DA. Arnold, the temperature in here is the same as always. That's what the sun shield is for. Come on, we have to get in race winning shape. I raised my arms above my head. Let's stretch. We need to be ready to move. We already are moving, Arnold pointed out, in a spacecraft. He fanned himself even harder. DA Arnold, I said. We have to prepare everyone. Check your shoelaces. I bent to retie my shoe. Tweet. Dr. Bibb's whistle sounded. I popped back up. It's time for the next contest, Dr. Bibb announced, which I call Lip to Bib. This is a question and answer race. I will call out the question. When your team knows the answer, send one member to the front of the bus. He held up the round object he had been polishing. Different colored stripes covered every inch. What is that thing? Asked Keisha. Dr. Bibb placed the object on the dashboard, then pressed it. It's my rainbow answer, buzzer. He said, whoever presses this first and has the correct answer wins. Before you start, Miss Frizzle interrupted. Look out the windows. We're now in the sun's core. We looked around. The Magic School rocket was smack in the middle of a wild, raging fire. Wow, Phoebe said, we never flew through fires like this at my old school. This isn't the kind of burning you see when you light a match or build a fire on Earth. Freeze told us, what you're seeing is all the energy being released by the gases crashing together in the sun's center. Just a tiny amount of gas creates a huge supply of light and energy. I had my own energy, a nervous kind of energy. I tapped my feet. I shook my shoulders. I waited anxiously for Dr. Bibb's first question of the race. I was glad now the DA was on my team, and glad too she had been studying. Maybe she would know all the answers. Psst, I whispered to TA. If you know the answer, tell me. I'll run up to press the buzzer. After all, I've been stretching while DA and Arnold were just sitting. I'll be fastest. Good. Arnold nodded. I'll just sit right here where it is safe. Dr. Bibb blew his whistle. Listen up. First question. Which gases make up the sun? I just read that. DA, it's hydrogen and helium. Go. I took off. Then I fell down. My shoelaces. I never finished tying them. Phoebe raced up to press the buzzer while I struggled to stand. Hydrogen and helium, she announced. I learned that at my old school. School car. Excellent, said the freeze as I tied each of my laces with a double knot. By the way, we're now traveling away from the sun's core along the same route that energy takes. Magic School rockets sped along. Thank you, Miss Frizzle, said Dr. Bibb. The next question, coincidentally, is about this energy. I sat forward, ready to run. As Miss Frizzle mentioned, energy travels out from the core, said Dr. Bibb. It moves in small bundles too tiny for us to see each one. These bundles of energy that make up light, called neutrons, photons, batons. DA elbowed me. Photons. I scrambled for the front of the bus. Why, oh why, had I chosen a seat in the back? Keisha beat me to the buzzer. Yes, said Dr. Bibb. Is it? She hesitated. photons. Correct. Dr. Bibb gave his whistle a sharp tweet. Now for the last question. Dr. Bibb said, how old is the sun? 4 to 5 minutes, 100,000 to 200,000 years, or 4.6 billion years. I jumped out of my seat, but Arnold jumped even faster. I better get this one. Ralphie, give yourself a break. Before I could say a word, he took off. Pretty fast, too. I would have to admit. He beat Tim and Carlos to the buzzer. 4.6 billion years. You're right, said Dr. Bibb. Red 1, blue 2, green 2. All right, I high-fived DA and Arnold, too, when he came back. Our luck was changing. Now we were on a roll. Dr. Bibb put the buzzer back in his pocket. That's it, game over. Over, I said, so much for being on a roll. Then I had an idea. Hey, DA, look in your books. If we find something Dr. Bibb doesn't know about energy, so maybe he'll give us bonus point. DA nodded. First place, here we come. Chapter 4. DA reached for a book. She scoured each page. Then she turned to me, excited. I found something. All sorts of light come from the sun, including light we can't see. Really, DA? I wanted Dr. Bibb to hear every word. You say there are certain kinds of light, Arnold put in helpfully. Right, I said, kinds of light we can't see and other kinds we can. I glanced hopefully at Dr. Bibb. He was listening. But was he impressed? No. He nodded, yawning. Guess that was all news for him. The bonus points for the red team. The freeze smiled at us. Thank you for bringing that up, red team. That's something the other team should know too. Visible light and invisible light are both part of the electromagnetic spectrum. Miss Frizzle, what exactly is the electric man spectacle? That's the electromagnetic spectrum, Ralphie DA corrected me. According to my research, that's a term for all the different kinds of light waves found in a single ray. Waves? I echoed. Light travels in waves, DA nodded. If you could see one kind of light traveling in a ray, like red light or green light, it would look sort of like zigzag or ripples. Each different kind of light has a different size wave. Wanda raised her hand. Miss Frizzle, are light waves anything like ocean waves? In a way, answered the freeze. All waves, water waves, sound waves, light waves vibrate with energy. Light waves carry both electric and magnetic energy. Miss Frizzle pulled down a giant chart from the front of the Magic School rocket. She waved at it grandly. This class shows the entire electromagnetic spectrum listed from longest wavelengths to shortest. Gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet rays, infrared rays, microwaves, radio waves. Hey, red has the longest wavelength of all the kinds of visible light. I said, is that good or bad? Laughed. Wavelengths aren't the only differences among the kinds of light. Every light has a different energy level too. How much energy does red have? We snapped up the chart. Let's find out with a little race. I call this one photon finish. Uh-oh, I think we're about to become photons. Free-swinged. Come on, Arnold, take a chance. Get energized. Before I could even blink, the Magic School rocket shrank to a teeny tiny size, and we all shrank with it. I looked down. I was wearing a super sleek black as a space suit, almost like a scuba diving outfit. We all wore, and we were all shaking a little too. Not with fear, with energy. At least DA, Arnold and I were shaking a little. The other teams seemed to be shaking a lot. Hey, this is so. I stopped in mid-sentence to yawn, exciting, still vibrating. I sat down quietly in my seat. Arnold and DA sat next to me. Is it just me,